What's up guys, it's Justin Stenstrom from Elite Man Magazine, and in this video I'm going to share with you why censorship of any kind is wrong. First things first, as you probably know if you follow me on any other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, email lists, podcast, you've probably heard me talking in the past few weeks about getting censored. And actually, I've been censored twice in the past 2 months for different pieces of content that I put out. And so the first censorship was from a podcast episode I did talking about, I won't even say the word because apparently when you say that word it triggers YouTube and other places to censor you in different areas. So I won't even say that word, but currently let's just say it's what's happening right now in the world, this global phenomenon that has swept the world. I had a podcast episode a few months back covering that thing and some of the strategies to keep yourself safe, your loved ones safe, your family safe, just natural strategies to boost your immune system and things of that nature. That episode got censored by Spotify and a few other platforms, podcasting platforms. Wasn't really a huge deal, but it did trigger something in my mind to think that perhaps going forward I need to be a little more careful about what I say. Long story short, after debating that with myself internally for probably a few days, maybe a better part of a week, I decided that I wasn't going to do that because no matter what, I'm still going to get the content out there to you. I'm not going to allow myself to be censored and to say different things. Now in this video, I'm not going to say that word because I want to get this information out to you and I don't want this video to get censored, but I'm not going to hide the truth of what's happening. I'm not going to hide the truth of what I know can help people in different areas and not talk about those types of things. So we've still covered that topic in other podcasts, actually multiple other podcasts. I've actually covered that topic in other videos. And going forward, actually fast forwarding the story like a month forward, a few weeks back we did a YouTube episode on a YouTube video on this topic. And it was basically vitamin C can help you with what's going on right now in the world, and it absolutely 100% can. And I had so many different resources, so many different links. I went through, it took me hours and hours and hours of going through to pull out that research that I've already known about for years, but I wanted to actually pull it into the video so you guys can check it out yourself and do the research and your own due diligence on your own. So that video took a long time to produce and put together, and I wanted to make sure it had all those resources and references ready for you to check out, and that's exactly what it had. It wasn't just some random dude talking about vitamin C could potentially do this and potentially do that. It actually had scientific sources from going back 100 years almost to when these guys were doing vitamin C therapy, high-dose vitamin C therapy, and helping out all these incredible conditions, the common cold, the flu, everything under the sun, vitamin C can help you with and help treat as well. But when you apparently say that word, 5-letter word, pandemic happening, that type of thing going on right now, when you say that and you put the words vitamin C and that together, apparently your video gets pulled and you get warned by YouTube and other platforms, I'm sure, which haven't acted on it yet, but I'm sure they will eventually, coming around soon. So, with that said, that is what's happened with me as far as censorship in the past couple of months. The point of this video is to talk about why censorship is wrong. Now, censorship is wrong. Of any form of censorship, by the way, is wrong in my view. And it comes down to the basic understanding that we all have a voice. I have a voice, you have a voice, the guy listening to this in the street over, the town over, the city over, the state over, the country over, he has a voice too. Everybody has a voice and opinion. We all get the freedom to speak up. Now, you may not live in America, which is still at this point, in my view, the greatest country in the world. It has the most opportunities for success and freedom and making money and making the best of yourself and changing class, like social mobility between classes. Like, we still have all these incredible things, although those things are slipping away slowly over time, and especially in the last couple of years they've increased in the speed that they're slipping away from us. Our freedoms have gone, especially with this whole pandemic, they have gone right down the tubes, which is another story for another day. But America still has that, and a lot of other countries around the world still have that opportunity, and they should forever hang on to that opportunity, that ability, that freedom to speak what they want to speak, to have that voice, to express their opinion, to hear other people express their opinion, express their views, have different people give them different perspectives on things. They should be the ones to decide what they believe in, what they want to believe in, what they choose to believe in, and what they want to listen to. When you have big tech companies like YouTube, Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram, you have these giant companies censoring all these people, and even platforms. They're censoring other platforms that are on their massive platforms. They're shutting down companies, they're shutting down businesses, they're shutting down people who have a message. When you have that problem going on, it really takes away your freedom, it takes away your voice, it takes away the next guy's voice. But ultimately it comes back to you, because you don't have the objective ability to discern what information you want, what sources you want to listen to. You're only given one solution, you're only given one voice, and that voice becomes the voice that gets in here. You don't have the ability to do your own research. You don't even have, these things are being pulled down all over Google, all over Facebook, all over Twitter, all over Instagram. People are being shut down left and right. And I experienced that twice the past 2 months, and I'm probably going to experience it more. They might even take this video down for talking about being censored. I don't know. But the thing is, when you start to do all these things, you shut down people, you shut down people's opinions and voices, you're only left to think of how these big tech companies and social medias want you to think. It's their voice that is controlling the narrative. It's their voice that's getting into your head and taking over your own voice. Listen, I get that Facebook and YouTube and Google and Instagram, Twitter, these are all private companies. I understand that 100%, and there is nobody out there who wants more liberties than me, who wants to have the free market determine itself. I'm a huge capitalist. I love the free market. I love the ability for the market to determine itself, the people to determine what they want to do, where they want to go, where they want to shop, what they want to buy. I'm totally against socialism and communism and all that stuff of the government stepping in, having all these regulations, all this stuff. I 100% am with that group of people. However, when it comes to something like this, in this new age that we're living in the past 10 years, social media and big tech has really taken over and changed the game. We're living in a technological age. We have been for the past 20 years. In the past 10 years especially, it's a completely different ball game than it was 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years. Like, these are all the laws that are in place and have been in place, applying to right now in current time, they're all outdated. They're all long outdated by many years. What needs to happen, in my view, because these big tech companies have become so massive, they're just huge. They've almost become monopolies in a sense, where you have Google, and I don't know the exact number, but like 95, 97% of people that go use search engines, they go through Google. They don't use Bing often, they don't use DuckDuckGo, they don't use a few of the other options out there. 95, 97% of the people out there are using Google. You ask anybody you know, they tell you they use Google. The problem with that is, there's nothing wrong with that inherently, but if Google is basically a monopoly here, they can start to censor different websites. They can start to show you at the top of their search engines who they want to show you. They can show you the people that they believe are good people. They can show you the politicians that they want to have win. They can show you the websites that they believe are good sources and good websites. They can filter out all the other people. They can filter out the people they don't agree with. If they're mostly liberal leaning and say Democrat, they can filter out all the Republicans. If they have a certain belief in health and they believe only in, say, vaccines, or they believe in pharmaceutical drugs, they'll filter out all the alternative therapies. They'll filter out all the vitamins that we talked about in the past, that we talk about often on this channel. They'll filter out herbs. They'll filter out natural remedies. You won't even see those things. You won't see them. I won't see them. The next guy won't see them. So he won't even know that they exist. All these great alternative therapies out there, they're not popping up on anybody's search engines because Google is filtering a lot of them out. It's crazy to think about. We don't even expect that to be a thing, because we just expect that we type something in, the best results will pop up. But if Google actually has a motive behind what they do, they want to start controlling things more, they're going to filter out whoever they want to filter out. They're going to censor whoever they want to censor, and that's the problem. So again, although I'm against big government and I'm against legislation coming in and telling private companies what they got to do, and you can't do this, you can't do that, it doesn't really apply in this situation. It's not like somebody has a mom and pop shop, or they got a bar, they got a restaurant, or they got, say, this is something I heard about for fighting against what I was talking about. Someone commented this online, I saw it. for the reason why what I'm talking about is not right, and they shouldn't go in and start to regulate some of these big tech companies. They use the analogy of, say, a movie theater, and censoring people on censoring people online, Facebook, YouTube, Google, is like having a movie theater, private-owned movie theater, censoring what movies they want to play. So basically having the government come in and tell the movie theater that you got to play this movie, this movie, this movie, and this. The government tells the movie theater what to play, and that, you know, gives all these laws to tell them what movies to show. And the guy who commented this said the analogy was the same as what's going on with big tech. You can't have the government tell big tech, Google or Facebook, who they're going to censor, who they can have on their platforms, because it's a privately owned platform. They own that space. They can do whatever the hell they want with who is on their space and using their platform. I get what the guy's trying to say, but here's why he's wrong. The movie theater, a single privately owned movie theater, is not the same as a giant corporation like Facebook, which has billions of users on it, and probably like 1 billion or at least over a billion active users on its platform. The same thing with YouTube, the same thing with Google, and to a certain extent Twitter has kind of died over the past few years, but certainly to a certain extent Twitter, and Instagram actually is a lot more popular than Twitter these days, and probably closer to that Facebook number where you have like something like 1 billion active users every month or whatever it is. It's a ridiculous amount of active users and people on their platforms. When you have a privately owned movie theater, although it's kind of a good analogy where you say the government stepping in and telling you what to play, it's not a good analogy because that movie theater isn't hitting the masses like Facebook, YouTube, and Google are hitting the masses. That movie theater is hitting probably a few hundred people or 1,000 people a week at most. Like, there's not that many people that movie theater is hitting, and not to mention there are hundreds, probably tens of thousands of other movie theaters in the country that these people, that us, the public, can go to. That one movie theater is not a monopoly. That movie theater is nowhere close to being a monopoly. They're not hitting the masses on a grand scale like Facebook, YouTube, or Google are hitting, and they're not reaching like 95% of the market. Most people, when they think of social media, they think of Facebook or Instagram or even Twitter. I mean, those are the options right there. There's really not that much out. Of course, TikTok's coming around. That's a whole different ballgame because that's coming, I believe, out of China. You can't really regulate TikTok anyways because it's from a different country. But all these companies I'm talking about, they're all U.S. based. We can certainly put in legislation now to get the standards back to being fair for everybody, having them be a fair shake for everybody that gets on that platform. When you have such a monopoly, when you have these large conglomerate companies that are just so big that when you think of a search engine, you think of Google. When you have these things that have just taken over these industries and can dictate the narrative in such a way, they have such power and influence over all our views and what we actually see, to get the news, to get the information, to get the resources, to get all this stuff that we need in our lives to be better, to think better, to be healthier, all this stuff. When they're controlling all this stuff, there needs to be something in place to have regulations to make it even for everybody, so that we don't get censored, so that I don't get censored again when I put out a vitamin C video. Of all things, a vitamin C video I put out, and that gets censored because it didn't fit into the narrative of this thing that we're currently facing right now, because it doesn't fit into what the WHO has said and all their crazy, wacky standards, which they've been so wrong for from the beginning of this whole thing. It doesn't fit into what they recommend. It got censored. All that information out there gets censored because the WHO, which is a sham of a company, of a organization, not company, organization, a sham of an organization anyways, because it doesn't fit their narrative. All the other narratives out there are just eliminated overnight. All the other different perspectives are eliminated overnight. Whatever happened to listening openly to different people have different presentations and different ideas, and thinking critically about which one you believe in, which one you want to put your stock into and your investments into in your life? That's all out the window now. It's all about what these big tech companies want you to think, and if you go against that at all, you're gone. So look, it was just a vitamin C video that got taken down, and a month ago, 2 months ago, it was just a podcast about the current state that we're all in that got taken down. It's not the end of the world. I will continue to make content. I will continue to give you these videos. But it is still frustrating, it is still aggravated, it is still worrisome for me and many people I believe watching when you see this type of thing going on. Because right now it's just a YouTube video, one video. And it's also one podcast episode. There's been hundreds of podcast episodes I've done in the past. But tomorrow it's going to be the whole account. Tomorrow it's going to be my whole account. Tomorrow it's going to be the next guy's whole account. The guy that you look up to for health for health advice, the guy you look up to for business advice, the guy you look up to for wellness advice, for dating advice, for confidence advice, like all those important things in your life that you currently use YouTube for, or you use Google for, or you use Facebook for, you get your information from these resources. These big tech companies are censoring people left and right. My account may be in jeopardy tomorrow. Another guy's account may be in jeopardy tomorrow. We don't even know. The point is, you have to stand up for what's happening. You have to fight against this crap. You have to fight against all the censorship that is taking place, whether you agree with the guy or not. I remember a couple of years, maybe a year or two ago, Alex Jones got censored. His whole account on every platform, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everything got shut down almost overnight. And everybody was saying, good, he's a conspiracy theorist, he's this, he's that, he's a jerk, he's, everything under the sun. A lot of people were saying those types of things. And me, who at the time didn't even like, I like Alex Jones now more than ever, not because I agree with his views, not because I think he's some brilliant genius who has all these incredible ideas and views, but I like him because he stood up for it and he fought for himself. And he's not back on those platforms, he probably never will be, but he's continued to share the message of fighting back and not being censored. And he still has his website, he's still doing really well as far as I know. And I said even back then that censoring somebody like Alex Jones was a terrible idea, and it's only going to lead to more and more censorship if you allow this type of thing to happen. So many people were happy that the guy got censored, and now look at where we're at a year or maybe 2 years later. This type of thing is happening. It's more prevalent than it's ever been. Guys like me are getting attacked now for putting up vitamin C videos. It's happening. Brian Rose got attacked like a month or two ago. The guy from London Real got attacked. His video, a couple of videos got taken down, censorship videos. So many people are getting attacked right now. It is horrible. It's terrible what's going on. And this is only going to get worse and worse unless you stand up. Unless you actually start talking about why this is wrong, sharing your views, telling your friends, telling your legislators, telling your politicians that we got to put something in order here. We got to put something in place to regulate these big tech companies, these social media companies, these conglomerates that have just taken over and changed the narrative. They're changing the story of what is reality, what's really happening in real life. They're changing it to what they want you to think is really happening in real life. I'm not saying they're necessarily evil, but they're taking advantage of what they have around them. They're taking advantage of the laws in place because the laws in place don't stop them. There's no safeguard against them doing this type of stuff. So they're just acting on these type of things and doing what they want. We got to have regulation. We got to have legislation go in. We got to speak up more. We got to tell people about this type of thing. Censorship is wrong on all forms. Whether you agree with someone or whether you hate that person. And trust me, I hate some of these people that have been censored, but I will always stand up for them being censored because I believe in free speech and I believe that everybody has a seat at the table and should have their voice heard. I'll just leave it at this. If you agree with censorship, if you allow the censorship to continue, if you want big tech and social media to keep censoring these accounts and censoring these videos, I'm telling you, one day your voice is going to be censored too. Your ideas will be gone. Your objective thinking will be gone. Your critical analysis of what's happening and whose side you want to take. All of those things will be gone because you will just think one narrative, and that's coming from big tech. What they want you to think is going to be what you think because all the other things are going to be gone. The censorship of anyone is the censorship of everyone. Well, that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like below and also share in the comment section your take on censorship. I know it is a bit of a controversial topic. It is kind of one of those things that some people don't want to talk about. I'm going to talk about it regardless, and I want to say that I'm going to continue to do the content I've always done before. Am I going to make another vitamin C and that 5-letter word that I'm not going to say in this video? Am I going to put those two together and make another video like that and put it on YouTube? Probably not. That would just be stupid because it would get taken down. But am I going to continue to do? I'll probably do that video and post it on other platforms, sure, but just not on this one right now. But I will continue to give you all the information, all the truth, all the honesty, all the views I have on what I believe in 100% and give you the unbiased truth, because it's what I've been put here for. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not going to pretend like there's not solutions out there to your problems that I know about. If I know of these solutions that can help you out in any way, I'm going to share them with you, whether these guys like it or not, whether big tech likes it or not, whether social media likes it or not. I'm going to get that information to you regardless. So with that said, leave a like below, like I said. Share in the comment section what your thoughts are on censorship. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get notified the instant we release a new video. Follow me on Instagram at Justin Stenstrom. And also, join the email newsletter, because that is the one place that will never be censored. That's the one place you can get all the information. It will never be censored. Go to elitemanmagazine.com/newsletter, and that'll take you to the newsletter link to sign up. Elite Man newsletter. That's where we get all the information. They can never censor an email list like this one, and that's the one you want to join.